Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to another YouTube video on the channel. And today guys, we are going to be continuing our 3-game match review series. Now in today's video, we've got 3 massive games to go over. Some very big statements made in all of these videos, in all these games, Melbourne VS Fremantle started it off at the MCG, then West Coast vs Western Bulldogs, Gold Coast vs Hawthorn to finish it off. All the later Saturday games, Saturday twilight and the 2 Saturday night games. Big statements were made, as I said a little bit before. So, not going to waste too much time. Let's go ahead and get right into things. We will be starting off with Melbourne versus Fremantle, or Melbourne versus Freo. So we start off with some unbelievable scenes at the MCG as Melbourne 7-14-56 get defeated by the Dockers 14-10-94. This game, and this for Fremantle, couldn't have happened at any better time. This win was needed by them. They've faced 2 heavy losses to Gold Coast and Collingwood, they were both in the wet weather. This one was drier and proving better for the Dockers. And the Demons, 7-14 inaccuracy did cost them. They were the Freo of last year in this game. And it was pretty much third quarter to set them up. But we'll go over the Demons first. In their first 2 quarters, they were playing mind-blowing footy, to be completely honest. The Demons, they looked like at one stage they were up by 31 points late in the second quarter, 43-12 in fact. They looked like they were going to smash the Dockers, and they were up by 25 at the half-time break, and it looked like, geez, this is going to be smashing. And the Dockers record 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 third quarter goals. 8 third quarter goals. And then 4 last quarter goals to completely run away with the game and turn a 31-point trail by 31 to win by 38. It's a big turnaround, this one. And it was basically built off that third quarter where only allowing the Demons to get a goal. They got 1 goal 6 in the second half to the Demons, and you don't normally hear numbers like that for Melbourne. And they were just picked apart in this game. The Dockers just played better footy than them. Their small forwards, Michael Frederick, had a night out. So did, Michael Frederick was great. Schultz as well was fantastic. They all played a key role to ensure this victory for the Dockers. 36 disposals for Clayton Oliver. He was good, as he always is. Lockie Schultz, 4 goals, 137 fantasy for Luke Ryan, and 5 tackles for Jordan Clark. But yeah, it was a very good last quarter. They managed to, more than double their score to win. And the Dockers only had 2 goals to half-time, but they managed to really turn on the Jets for that third and final term to seal the victory and cause a massive upset. Nobody saw this one coming. Looked like it was going to be a game that was going to be close a few rounds ago, and, it was exactly that. The Dockers came from nowhere to steal this one, really. And they got the job done convincingly. They led the whole second half, which was fantastic for them. Luke Ryan, 137 fantasy, 107 for Clayton Oliver, 104 for Max Gorn, 103 for Rory Lobb, 102 for Jordan Clark, 100 for Brayshaw and Chapman, 97 for Darcy, 96 for Cox, 94 for Brayshaw. That's the Dockers. Brayshaw goals behinds now. Let's have a little look. Frederick, the man with 2 goals. But it was Schultz, Fritz and Lobb who led from the front. 4 goals for Schultz, 3 for Fritz and Lobb. 2 goals for Bedford, played a bit of a role. 2 for Frederick, 2 for Tabernar. Taberna's going well as well. Disposal, 36 for Oliver, 29 for Ryan, 28 for Viney, Brayshaw, Brody, 27 for Jordan. And now marks, 14 for Chapman, wow. 14 for Ryan, 12 for Cox, 10 for Young. So those are all defenders that were getting the marks. And then 9 for Brayshaw, which is the Demons, Lobb and Walker. So most of them are the defenders. So the Dockers having to play a marking tempo game. 5 tackles for Luke Jackson and Jordan Clark. And now the hitouts. 32 for Darcy, 20 for Gaunt, 7 for Jackson and Lobb. Now to some stats, some team stats. The Dockers did have more disposals than the Demons. They went inside 50 the relatively same amount of times, 51-53 in the Dockers' favour. Hitouts, clearances were in Freo's favour by a little bit. And then marks was heavily dominated by the Dockers, having to play a fast kind of marking game though, not just slow marking. just trip back, trip to me, trip back again. It was like more mark going up the ground, but going quicker. Teams have tried to do that against Melbourne, and it doesn't work. But if you can play fast, you might even be able to pick them apart, like what the Dockers managed to do. And 30 points was the biggest lead. I thought it was 31, but 30, 31, something along the lines of that. It was 5 goals anyway. It was insane, and the Dockers managed to come back to snare an epic win, and they needed this to keep in touch with the top 4. This is a win that they needed. They play Brisbane at home next week. I'd be having all the confidence in the world going into that game if I was a Fremantle Dockers. This was a massive win. 38 points. They knock off ladder leaders Melbourne, who now go 10-1. It ends their 17-game winning streak. And, boy, they needed this win, the Dockers, and this was a fantastic win. This was a brilliant win for them. Now to the West we go. And West Coast, again, couldn't really put up anything against a brilliant and stacked Western Bulldogs side. They had 16 individual goal kickers. West Coast 9-6-60. Failed to beat the Western Bulldogs 25-11, 161. And this is not the first time where the Dogs have recorded a heavy score. They did this last year against North Melbourne in the Good Friday game. They managed to put on another good score against them this year. So they can smash lower level teams, can the Western Bulldogs, and they did exactly that in this game. West Coast hung around for the first, maybe, quarter. They did kick the first goal of the game, but the Western Bulldogs pretty much doubled their score in the first term. At half-time, it looked to be practically over, even though it was 35-67, but you still know that West Coast can't really put up the biggest of fights, and then third quarter, the Dogs just skipped away, kicking 8 goals and 7 more in the final term to seal a 101-point win. It was big, and it was quite a boring game of footy, to be completely honest, unless if you're a Dogs fan, then you would have been loving it, because you love when you get to see your team smash other teams. It is fantastic. But yeah, it wasn't the greatest game of footy. But for the Western Bulldogs, this is a massive positive for them. They needed this win. They needed to show they can really put on the pressure against a lower level team away from home. They did exactly that. 38 disposals for Tim Kelly, 4 goals for Norton, 139 fantasy for Dunkley, and 7 tackles for Josh Dunkley. But the Western Bulldogs had an absolute night out. West Coast, the positive is that they still did get a score of 60. They weren't restricted to 30 or 40, so they still got 9 goals, 6 on the board, so they still had scores. But the Western Bulldogs, there was no surprise this was going to happen. This was going to happen. Not sure as big of a margin as what it was, but yeah, I don't think anyone saw West Coast winning the game. Western Bulldogs were just a better team, and they did need this win badly. Tim English was pretty good as well. 139 AFL fantasy for Josh Dunkley with the 2 goals, 25 disposals. Fantastic, 12 marks, 7 tackles. And then 132 for English with the 1 goal, 130 for Kelly with the 1 goal, 129 for Treloar, 107 for McRae, 105 for Witherden, 99 for Hugh, 98 for Redden, 92 for Taylor Duray. And Alex Keith got a few goals as well. He chipped in, got a few goals. Darling was electric with the 4 goals. He was probably West Coast's best positive out of the night. 4 goals for Aaron Norton as well. 2 for Waitman and Keith and Williams. West, McNeil, Dunkley getting 2 goals. Karmas, Treloar, Bontempelli, Kennedy, Cripps, English, Gaff, Kelly, Williams, McComb, Liberatore, Dale, wow. Duray, Scott, all with a goal. Wow. Sorry, guys. Wow. That is a lot of goal kickers for the Western Bulldogs. Disposals now. We'll have a little look at that. 38 for Kelly, 35 for Treloar, 30 for McRae, 28 for Gaff and Dale. Now marks, 12 for Dunkley, 11 for Witherden and Hugh. Tackles, 7 for Petreski-Seaton, Liberatore and Dunkley. Now to the hit-outs, 28 for English, 16 for Sweet, 12 for Williams, 11 for Jamieson. So that is how that one went, and yeah, the Western Bulldogs went inside 50 way more times than West Coast, resulting in a very good score. It was just fantastic for them, and yeah, dominating the hit-outs, clearances, and everything like that. And yeah, it wasn't really great for the Eagles, who aren't a great side this year, so they will have, well, you'd be assuming, depending on North Melbourne's result, they'd be having pick 1 in the mid-season draft. Western Bulldogs led for basically the whole game, the biggest margin being 101 points. Look at that. Look at how many times they slotted through the big sticks, 25 goals. That is insane. But yeah, depending on North Melbourne's result, which we'll be checking out the ladder soon, we'll be able to see if West Coast will hold pick 1 in the mid-season draft. But the Western Bulldogs get a thumping win over West Coast by 101 points. Now up to the Northern Territory we go, where footy returns to Darwin at TIO Stadium for what you would have thought would have been a cracking Saturday night footy contest, and it was not that at all. Gold Coast 18-13, 121 got over the Hawks 7-12, 54. The Hawks up and down, I reckon. They've just had a up and down season. They can beat the Cats, they can beat the Lions at home, but then they can't go up and beat the Suns. They can't, like, their season's been a little bit ish. Like, you get what I mean? It's been 50-50. You don't really know what they can do one weekend. Gold Coast, they've just been good. They've been consistent. Yes, they may not have been winning, but they've won 3 of their past 4 games. Even though their loss was at the Western Bulldogs at home at Mars Stadium, they still tried. They still competed, and they only went down by 19 points. So I'd still count that as a pretty good game for them. And this was a big win for them. 67 points being the final margin. And Hawthorn showed no fight at all. They were never in this game. And discipline did get to them at times, did the Hawks. The Suns, the first quarter was relatively even, and the Hawks could have come back. They were only 3 goals down, but the second quarter said pretty much goodbye to them. They were down by around 40 points at the main break. The third quarter didn't really help, and the last quarter was not great. Hawthorn never won any quarters. First quarter, Gold Coast win. Second quarter, Gold Coast win. Third quarter, Gold Coast win. Final term, Gold Coast win. Hawthorn were not good in this game at all. They were never really there. After half time, they were gone. They were gone after half time. Tom Mitchell, 29 disposal. It was quite hot and humid up there, though. So Gold Coast managing to pile on a score is fantastic. Malcolm Roses gets the 3 goals. 126 fantasy for Brandon Ellis, 13 tackles for Nick Holman, but I'll tell you, this was a massive win for Gold Coast, and they'd be loving it. And again, they also get to enjoy the week up at the Northern Territory, as they face North there next week. So, exciting times for Gold Coast. 126 fantasy for Ellis, 112 for Mitchell, 105 for Miller, he does it week in, week out. 103 for Weller, 99 for Morrison, 96 for Holman, and 86 for Sicily. Goals behind, 3 for Roses and Troll, 2 for Ainsworth and Ellis, and Chad Wingard being Hawthorn's only multiple goal scorer with the 2 goals. Kaczynski had not a great night in front of the big sticks with 1 goal, 3 disposals. Now 29 for Mitchell, 27 for Weller, 24 for Ellis and Miller. They do it a lot, especially Miller. Morrison also takes the 24. Sicily and Swallow were good as well with 21. Now the marks, Morrison 9 marks, Sicily with the 8 as well as Ellis. Sicily does do it week in, week out with the marks, averaging about 9 a game, I reckon. Something around that. But the marks that he's been able to notch up this year have been unbelievable. 13 tackles for Nick Holman as well, showing the pressure. 7 for Rea, 7 for Newcomb. Only the 12 disposals for Newcomb. He was held quite quiet on the night. Hit out 34 for Witts, smashing Kaczynski with 6, 5 for Troll, 2 for Howe, 1 for Casbolt. Kaczynski was Hawthorn's main ruck, and to see that he won 6 hit outs, that is just devastating for Hawthorn. They do need to try and find a way that they can try and find a good ruck. Gold Coast did go inside 50 way more times than the Hawks, and they scored 18-13, so they were pretty good as well. Hit outs, Hawthorn managed 8 hit outs for the game. That is an alarming stat, and if you wonder why they lost, well, that is just a little bit of an insight. 8 hit-outs is definitely not going to cut it, I will say. Yes, hit-outs can, like, the clearance number can go either way, but when you win 8 hit-outs and don't have a familiarised ruckman, that is dangerous territory there for the Hawks. That is danger. So that's not a great moment for the Hawks, and they would know that. And then 35 clearances as well. 35-23, they did let the Suns get more clearances, but again, the Suns were dominant in, centre and stoppage clearances, winning by 6 and 6 on both times. And nothing else looking that appealing. Gold Coast had way more set shots while losing 17-5 marks inside 50. And yeah, wasn't great for the Hawks. And Gold Coast, their biggest margin of the game was 67, which is the winning margin. And they showed footy fans up in Darwin that they are a good team. And this does open the door for finals for Gold Coast. They play the way they do. They can keep this up for the rest of the season. They could make finals for the first time in their club history. And that'd be something special for Gold Coast. So they're a chance. They need this win. Hawthorn, their season may be just done and dusted now. They are, and it was a big percentage booster for Gold Coast as well. They win by 67 in the NT. Sunday footy looking exciting. St Kilda North starts us off. Collingwood vs Carlton, possibly game of the round now. I said Gold Coast Hawthorn had it, but now I reckon this one does now. I reckon Collingwood vs Carlton should be fantastic. And then we're going to be going over to a wet Adelaide Oval for Port Adelaide vs Essendon, the final game of the round. What have Essendon got to give in this game? What sort of pressure? How are they going to play? No pressure versus the Swans, physical versus the Tigers. What are they going to be able to do? Let's have a look at what we had for this round. So Sydney won by 6 over Richmond. The Lions defeated the Giants by 14. The Cats got over the Crows by 42. The Dockers got over the Demons by 38 in a big turnaround. The Western Bulldogs get over the Eagles by 101, and the Hawks lose to the Suns by 67. Round 12 starts the buys. There's a quick little snapshot of what we have. The ladder, things have changed after that Freo win. They go into third, of course, with percentage, but Carlton's result will be critical today to whether Carlton will go up to third or not. Western Bulldogs have also gone into the 8 with a good percentage. And there you see Gold Coast on 20 points. Port Adelaide, it's a must-win for them to try and stay in touch. And you would think that West Coast will be holding pick number 1 in the mid-season draft. That'll wrap up today's 3-game match reviews. The last 3 games, St Kilda vs North, Collingwood vs Carlton, Port Adelaide vs Essendon will be in the next one. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. See you guys and then miss another video on the channel. Thank you guys all so much for watching. So bye everyone. Flaming Footy out.